Room service if I like, I order twice. Hibachi, got the gravy on the rice. Rolling in Mexico.
Pittsburgh Steelers fans, welcome into another edition of the Steelers Q&A. It's a Sunday night, and we are here to answer your questions. This show is a part of the Steel Curtain Network, and excited to talk to you guys again. It's been a week since we've done this one, and I did it solo. I've got a guest with me tonight. My name's Jeremy Betson. Joining me is Sean Gurley, Big G. You know him, you love him. Know It All's podcast. He does a lot of other things for us here on the Steel Curtain Network and Fans First Sports. Big G, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, what's cracking, Bretts, man? When you hit me up earlier, you hit me with an opportunity. I said, man, I can't turn my dude down, man. He needs somebody to bounce some stuff off of. And I'm gonna set all these Yensies straight tonight, Betts. We ain't going into this in the off season. We ain't going into all of this, man. But man, thanks again for the opportunity, man. And anything I can do for Steel Curtain Network, man, absolutely. I'm in, bro.
Well, we appreciate it as always, and I always enjoy talking with you. We get a chance to talk about our points of views on things and answer the questions that the listeners are going to have here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get your questions in, guys. We're going to talk about a few things on this show. Talk about OTAs. Week 1's in the books. Week 2's coming up. You got mini camp, mandatory mini camp coming up. Some things on the team still that are uncertain and unset in stone at this point, which is going to be a topic of conversation for as long as there's an off season, right? So when you talk about setting the injuries straight here, Big G, there's a lot of things to do that on, right?
Yeah, facts, absolute facts. We're gonna get some myths out of here, man. Some of that mess out of here, and we're gonna talk reality, man, concerning the Steelers, man, in 2025. Because a lot of people, they're all over the place, man, and I get it. But we're going to get the facts together tonight on the show, man.
Well, let's do it. I think that let's start with this. Let's start with the OTAs and minicamp phase. Are you looking for anything specific out of these 3 weeks or so of the offseason before the long wait to training camp? Are you looking for anything specific from the players, from the coaches, from the team? What's on your radar throughout these next 3 weeks here?
So, to me, OTAs are extremely important concerning the block building for the organization for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're extremely, number one. But the most important thing to me in OTAs is the rhythm of the quarterback with the wide receivers and whoever we identify as the green dot being able to call out a cadence and signal to have the defensive players lined up. Because those two things are critical concerning repetition, which brings reinforcement for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, I know some folks say, well, they want to see the line drills with the offensive line and defensive line. It really doesn't matter because they're not in pads. Now, you can see the speed. You can see how their bodies have changed, a lot of them, especially like Broderick Jones, Mason McCormick. You can see that stuff. But you're going to find out about the trenches and the mini camps and leading up to it. But right now, the rhythm and the cadence of the quarterback, along with the green dot linebacker being able to put his guys in the correct position is the two most important things, man.
That communication aspect is absolutely right. And getting this team and roster together for the first time as a whole, as mostly a whole, you get a chance to really begin that process of gelling and growing as a unit. There's a lot of turnover every year with all of these teams, but the Steelers in recent years, there's been a lot of turnover every year, more so than we've seen in a while. And I don't know. Let's when you talk about the quarterbacks and their cadence and their timing and all this thing with the receivers, I think that is huge. I do think that getting these guys in rhythm with each other, feeling the speed that the receivers are running with, feeling that snap coming to you and just the speed of the game, starting to get the flow of the game and the speed of the game. That's hugely important for the offensive guys, which is why I've kind of said this is the Will Howard offseason portion of the offseason. I just want to see that guy get into gear here and see what he can bring to the table. You're an Ohio State fan. I'm an Ohio State fan. You've got ties to Ohio State with your family and the Will Howard thing is going to be something that we're watching closely as fans of Ohio State. So I just think it's very important to like you're saying, set those expectations as we go into an offseason where there's going to be a lot of question marks for this team.
Bets, they don't want to see that Chips Ahoy cookie right there, man. That national championship Chips
Right.
Ahoy cookie.
That's
They don't want. We ain't got time to talk about all that. But it's absolutely OTAs is really beneficial for the rookies and the first year players. And you hit a key point. The 53-man roster of the Pittsburgh Steelers has went over and through a complete overhaul through 2023, 2024, and now 2025. We have rookies that didn't play last year. Roman Wilson didn't play. Troy Fautano played very limited. So those guys implemented into the changeover with DK Metcalf, Darius Slay, with Eccles coming in at the nickel corner. Now the influx of Black and Harmon and Sawyer on the defensive line. There's a lot of things going on with the Pittsburgh Steelers that has to become better concerning continuity. And so that's why you need OTAs, because the quarterback of the defense and the quarterback of the offense have to be able to put the team in the correct position, bro.
Absolutely. Okay, so with that in mind, Daniel Red has a question. How overblown is OTAs for veterans? I think it depends on the veteran, but it depends on the position you're playing and everything as well. But Big G, do you get concerned when TJ Watt's not there? Or are you concerned that if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback of this team, that he's not there right now? Do those types of things concern you for the multi-year, multi-contract veterans that could potentially be on this team?
TJ Watt's not a concern because he's holding out right now for a contract. And really, to be honest, the less reps Watt has, the better off we're going to be late down the season. TJ Watt was beat up last year. He was beat up bad, towards the end of the year. But Watt is holding out because there's some negotiation in his contract to make him more versatile in the Steelers offense. If you think that Watt is going to play and line up at edge 95% of the time, you're mistaken. The change or the influx of Watt from a position standpoint is coming in. Now, on the reverse side, a guy who I even really hate talking about, Aaron Rodgers, who's not on the current roster, it's critical that he's there, because the team has to get cadence concerning him, being able to line up in the right spot, see what he likes and doesn't like. You're not going to be able to accelerate that process real fast when you're in pads, but you can accelerate the process real fast when you're in shorts and T-shirts. So the sooner you have your quarterback and your signal caller in the room, put your team in better position to be able to establish and win long term. That's my thoughts, bro.
Yeah, and I agree with that. My only pushback in the Rodgers situation is that he wouldn't be here for more than 2025 anyway. So
Facts.
you get some of that in there, but I would say this too. This is a brand new offense for him if he's going to be the quarterback. And we don't have to spend a lot of time on Rodgers. But the fact that he would have to come in and learn a new offense, new players, learn how this whole Mike Tomlin, Aaron Rodgers dynamic would work out with who's the boss and who's not, and who makes this call here and who makes this call there. Those types of things are more important. But for me, again, with wanting to see what you have in a guy like Will Howard and just trying to get to know some of the players that missed some time last year, it's not killing me that Rodgers isn't here right now. Now, if he decides that he's not going to be here for minicamp and really the majority of the summer here, I start to get worried about that. And we just don't know what his thought process is at this point.
Right. Listen, I'm a firm believer. If he's not signed by the end of OTAs, he's not coming into the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because it continues to put you behind the 8 ball. Now, will they sign another quarterback? Maybe. Now, conversely, if he shows up at the end of OTAs and then is ready to go for mandatory minicamp later on up the road, okay, that's fine too. I'm a believer in this, and it's just me. I might be dead wrong. I think the push for Rodgers starts at the head for Art Rooney II. Art Rooney II is the main reason why the door is still open for Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Some folks are saying it's Mike Tomlin, it's Andy Waddle, it's Omar Khan. No, it's not none of them. It's Art Rooney II. He's the person that's keeping the door open for Aaron Rodgers. So until Mr. Rooney comes out and says no, then that door will be open. And Aaron Rodgers knows that. Number 2, Bets, I believe this. I believe that there's enough conversation that's went on between Coach Tomlin and between Arthur Smith that Rodgers has some semblance of the playbook right now today. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I believe that a lot of the Steelers players after the OTAs, especially the offensive guys, are going to start trying to work out with him. Because I think in their mind, that's the move. So I'm not so much worried about him. First ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to be able to grasp what he needs to grasp. But I just don't know if he wants to play football. And that's why I'm ready to move on with Mason and see what we got in Will Howard and bring in a veteran. That's just my thinking, man.
Yeah. And I mean, let's just be honest. This is kind of a thought I've been pushing this week and this last week, is that right for 2025, the quarterback isn't a big deal. It's just not a big deal for this team because they're not winning a championship no matter who they're bringing in because there weren't any good quarterbacks available this offseason. So let's take a step back and as a fan base here and realize that the quarterback talk, we can ramp that up again next offseason when there's a chance to go get a franchise quarterback again. But for now, it doesn't matter if it's Rodgers. It doesn't matter if it's Rudolph. It doesn't matter if it's Howard or insert other veteran that you want to throw into the conversation if Rodgers doesn't come in. Doesn't matter who that is. The big questions on this roster are, is Broderick Jones actually a good offensive lineman? Can these young guys on the defensive line step up? Is Keanu Benton a good football player? Is Joey Porter Jr. a good corner? Those are the big questions that we need answered way more than who's coming in to play quarterback for this team this year.
Correct. The Omar Khan and Andy Waddle from 2023, 2024, and now 2025. These are their drafts. They had to completely flip the roster over, right? Now, Betts, I'm going to hit you with a stat you probably don't know. Take you back to the 2000 draft. It was one of the worst quarterbacks drafts in NFL history. The only quarterback that went in the first round was Chad Pennington. Yep. You know who went sixth in the sixth round that year in 2000? You know?
I don't.
In the sixth, Tom Brady.
That was 2000? Okay.
Tom Brady was, you know what else? You know what they said about Tom Brady coming into the NFL? The exact same things they're saying about Will Howard. The exact same stuff.
This, limited that. Yeah.
The exact. Now, I'm not saying Will Howard is Tom Brady. I'm not saying that. Because some folks will say, well, that's a once-in-a-lifetime thing in A, B, C, and D. What I'm saying is that you cannot just be totally against what is going on concerning the quarterback room for Pittsburgh with or without Aaron Rodgers. You just can't be totally against that because you might have something in Howard and give him an opportunity to develop, and we'll go from there, bro.
Yeah, I agree. Brian Brown says, who's to say that Will Howard kid won't be good? I mean, who's to say that he won't? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's got to be part of that. I was making the argument, and let's see where you're at on this one too, Big G. Well, before I get there, I'd have to pull up the super chat because I missed it earlier.
Okay.
But Claude Bishop gives us $5. He says, give him hell, Jeremy, because G on that Thunderbird tonight, and thanks for showing up to bring some real Steelers knowledge to the show. Big G, what did you do to this man? What did you do to this man?
Claude Bishop is on. Hey, I told him already. I already done told him. I told him on the know-it-alls earlier.
Yeah.
You lucky I ain't got the Matrix over there with Betts with the Q&A because you'd be the first one to enter the Matrix this evening, bro. He's listen, I had them Steeler fans argue with me about all kind of stuff today, man. And it's like lack of reality, man. I mean, and I told him, this is what I told him, Betts. Just admit you don't want Mike Tomlin to be the coach no more, and then we can get there. Because from the truth, we can go anywhere. But all this dancing around A, B, C, and D, that's haters, man. It's diabolical. It's a diabolical hater. So no, and Claude is one of those dudes, bro. He's one of those dudes, man. He's a diabolical hater.
Claude, you gave it to him, man. Big G coming at you though. He's coming back. So give us some more money and we'll bring up your chat again. I'm just kidding. Don't do what you need to do out there. But Big G, we can talk about a lot of things, but one of the areas, just going back to our conversation, that I've been arguing since kind of the Will Howard selection was made is like, you could start him this year and your floor doesn't change because the floor of this team is set by Mike Tomlin, the organizational infrastructure, which despite some issues in recent years is still sets a high floor for this team. And this defense is going to be really good again. It just is, unless you trade TJ Watt away, which I don't think that's going to happen. But
Nope.
as the roster currently is constructed, it doesn't matter to me who the quarterback is. Your floor is your floor. Whoever the quarterback is what's going to determine your ceiling. And nobody seems to be on board with that for some reason, even though we've seen it year after year since Roethlisberger has either declined physically or he's been done. Mike Tomlin and this roster, doesn't matter who's playing quarterback, they're going to be a floor of 8 or 9 wins every year. And then the ceiling is based on how good the quarterback play is beyond that.
Betts, I promise you, me and you didn't even talk. And I promise you, I said almost the exact same thing earlier. We've been in rebuild mode since 2018, 2019. Now, now you can hate on me all you want to. Kevin Colbert kicked us into you know what them last 3 years with the draft, bruh.
Sure did,
So now we got Andy Waddle and Omar Khan, who brought the Philadelphia Eagle philosophy into the room for the Pittsburgh Steelers, building the trenches to see what you got. So we're in a rebuild, and we've remained relevant through a rebuild. That doesn't happen in the NFL. Most of the time, you win 3, 4, 5 freaking games. Betts, it's win the division, win a playoff game, fight for the Super Bowl. There's the standard.
Yeah.
We're in that conversation every freaking year.
Yeah.
Through a rebuild. So yeah, they on some hate, man. They on some hate bets, man. They really are, bro.
And there is a contingent who's just tired of the current structure of everything. And I just don't know. I feel like that there's a group of fans. If you're a fan like this and you're in this chat, let us know about it, because I want to address this, but I think there's people out there that wish that we were the Jets or the freaking Browns. I mean, where they'd rather not have some type of contention and just be a dog and pony show every year. And I just can't get on board with that type of philosophy.
Betts, listen, do you know how many teams have not made the Super Bowl in the last 25 years? I'm going to help you. It's 19.
Yeah.
Do you know how many teams have not made the playoffs in the last 25 years? We're talking over half the league in both of those categories. Yeah. So we're not that irrelevant team that's just horrible. The issue is that our roster got old. We refused to rebuild those last 2 years for Roethlisberger. We didn't get rid of – the only veteran we made go out to pasture was Troy Polamalu. All the rest of them, Pouncey, all of them, they held on to all of them. It was over with for them. They refused to do it because they remained loyal to the organization. And then them last 3 drafts, go back and see what Kevin Colbert did. It was freaking Betts, do you realize if Marvin Leal and Calvin Austin III don't make this roster in 2025, the whole 2022 draft ain't even on the team.
It's gone. Yeah.
They ain't even on the team. Kevin Colbert wasn't trading to get a dude like DK Metcalf. Kevin Colbert wasn't going to move around in the draft. He took his 7 picks and that was it.
Yeah,
that's not him. So you got to give the new regime an opportunity to fix the Steelers organization. And that's why you're starting to see these changes. The issue is the Steelers fans are just impatient. Give it an opportunity because we remain relevant during a rebuild.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I got to pull up this comment because Robert says Jeremy Betts is off too. He says it doesn't matter who Steelers quarterback is. It absolutely does matter who the quarterback is if you're trying to win a championship.
Facts.
But the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2025, they may say they're trying to win a championship, but they ain't winning no championship, Big G. And so it doesn't matter for 2025 who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is for the floor of how good your team's going to be. But if you're chasing championships, if you're chasing division titles, that quarterback is important. And I do think it matters who the Steelers quarterback is moving forward for the future. They've got to find a guy in 2026. They've got to go get a franchise type quarterback. And if they miss, you set that rebuild back again. But for this year, for 2025, we're way past finding a franchise quarterback. If Aaron Rodgers comes in and he puts together a heck of a final season, they may find themselves contenders. But beyond that, there's no chance. There's no chance that happens. So if Aaron Rodgers doesn't come here, I'd just as soon as see what Will Howard gets, because you're still going to win 8 games with Will Howard as your quarterback.
Bets, we went 8 with Duck Hodges, bro.
Yeah. That's
We
what
went 8 with Duck Hodges. He was big trash. And we went 8-8 with him, man. So come on, man.
He went 4-4 as a starter, throwing 5 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. I mean, he didn't do anything for us, and we still went 4-4. We went 8-8 in that season with him as the primary starter and Mason Rudolph spotting in when he could, when he was healthy. I mean, come on, it's not going to get worse at quarterback than that year, and they still win 8 games. That's the floor, man. That's the floor,
bro. The roster was cooked when we had Mitch Trubisky and Baby Hands Kenny Pickett. The roster was cooked then, and we still was relevant.
Yeah.
So I mean, come on, bro. We're
beat the Ravens twice.
Correct. We're working through the rebuild and guess what? Guess what, bro? We're about this close to insert the franchise quarterback. Why do you think we got all that draft capital for 2026? Why do you think we got all them? We got 12 picks. 12 dudes ain't making the roster for next year. We're not going to flip 12 guys over. That's your franchise quarterback. Trust and believe. And they're going to identify. You just got to let the 2025, 2026 college football season play through and then figure out where you're at in the process. But they're going to get a quarterback next year, bro. They're going to get one.
Yeah, I think so too. And the other thing I've been saying, we'll go to a break here real quick before we jump into some more questions from the listeners. But I feel like this is a topic worth discussing because there's so much confusion out here. And you're right, Big G. We need to set some people straight here.
Yeah.
But the thought process that, let's see here. I was trying to find a certain comment here that was guiding my thought process here. Sorry.
Robert was talking crazy. He talking crazy.
Yeah.
He one of them diabolical haters. He one of them diabolical haters, bro. Diabolical.
Yeah. Okay. Will Howard will not lead us to 9 wins. Stop it. It's just not about the quarterback in that case. That's not what the determining factor is. So I just can't get off this box because people just don't.
We got the big froze. His internet gone, y'all. Listen, I'm on a Q&A and I got to give him the fine sign, dog. His internet froze up completely. Hopefully he'll be back here in a second, but I'll just keep the chatter going with the live chat, man. Listen, you guys, I promise you, the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be okay in the 2025 season. I promise you, they're going to be between 9 wins and 11 wins, regardless of who comes in to play quarterback. The 53-man roster has improved to the point to where they're going to be okay. Now, the question is, do we have something in a rookie quarterback? I don't know. Even though I love the Buckeyes, I'm not going to sit up here and tell you and be all in fantasy land saying that Will Howard is going to lead us to the playoff run and Super Bowl and all whatever else. I'm not that dude. But I will tell you that they'll be okay. The season, and for all y'all that don't understand, hinges on the improved play of the offensive line and the improved play of the defensive line. That's where the season hinges on. If the offensive line, if we got something and Broderick Jones at left tackle, Isaac Seumalo is going to be 100% healthy, we know we got something in Zach Frazier, Mason McCormick with improved play, and Troy Fautanu at right tackle. That's what we're going to be all right. Bets, all I told him while you was gone is that the season hinges on the improved play of the offensive and defensive lines. If that's the case, we're going to win between 9 and 11 games. If those two units improve, bro.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about the trenches. It really is. That's what's more important here. And sorry for the blackout on my end, guys. I don't know what happened with my internet, but thanks, Big G, for holding things down.
I got you, bro.
I know you do, always do. Let's go to take a little break here, and then we'll get into some questions that we're getting from the comments section.
Got you.
All right, we're back here on the Steelers Q&A. Jeremy Betts, Big G, Sean Gurley, and setting the record straight on a few things as we go here. Algorithms, absolutely. Get those.
Make you hit that like, man. Hit that like button,
right. Hit
man.
that like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Tell people about the show. Tell people about the Steel Curtain Network. get your friends out here, and because we need more Steeler fans on the right page, and we've got you covered here on the Steel Curtain Network for that thought process. And if you want to hear other people's opinions too, I mean, that's the thing about Steel Curtain Network, Big G, is we all come from different Steeler fan backgrounds, and we all have different opinions on it, and it makes for great conversation. So you can hear any angle you want to hear about the Pittsburgh Steelers here on SCN. Let's get to some questions from the listeners here, and we'll go back to the beginning. Afton Forehead. Afton's always a great listener and a great question asker here on this show. Afton says, how different would the game plan be if A-Rod signs than if we roll with Mason? Let's take this from how the Steelers will attack defenses as an offense this year standpoint, as opposed to, how will they install things? But does the offense look a lot different with Aaron Rodgers than it would with Mason Rudolph or Will Howard?
The difference is Aaron Rodgers' ability to process information faster than Mason Rudolph. Aaron Rodgers is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's not get it twisted. And even at 41 years old, he can process information a lot faster. Now, would Aaron Rodgers be willing to hang in the pocket a little bit longer and to take a hit if he sees something's going to come wide open? I don't know. Mason McCormick might be a little bit willing to stay in the pocket and take a hit more than Aaron Rodgers. But Aaron Rodgers, I think both quarterbacks was going to push the ball down the field. And I think both quarterbacks will utilize play action, and both quarterbacks will throw the ball across the middle of the field, which is huge improvements from our 2024 season where nobody threw the ball across the middle of the field. So I think that the game plan only changes with Rodgers' ability to be able to process more information or faster than what Mason Rudolph can process information.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that because Rodgers has the ability to know what the defense is going to do pre-snap and to make adjustments based on that, I think you will see more shots over the middle of the field. I think that that's going to be a bigger part of the game plan, not only because of that, but because he knows how to utilize all areas of the field as a passer. And one of the reasons that where a lot of fans were like, no, don't bring in Jonnu Smith because the Steelers don't even target their tight ends. I'm not saying go get Jonnu Smith, but to say don't do it because they're not targeting their tight ends is for the wrong reason. It was because Arthur Smith didn't have a quarterback who wanted to test the middle of the field last year.
Correct.
And Kenny Pickett didn't want to do that under Matt Canada either. So Mason Rudolph will do that. I think Will Howard will do that. Aaron Rodgers definitely will do that. So you open up a new area of the field, and every other place Arthur Smith has been as a coordinator or having a hand in any type of offensive structure, the middle of the field has been the most important place for his gameplay style. So it had to be the quarterback situation last year for the Steelers that changed that, in my opinion.
Yeah. And let me make this perfectly clear too. Justin Fields was a one read. He saw it, but he didn't throw it. He was scared.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson couldn't see it. I mean, I watched probably every game in all 22, and he couldn't freaking see it.
Yeah.
The one game where he saw it, he dumped it off to the middle of the field to the running back because of the design defense that the Cincinnati Bengals play. He couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph can see it. Aaron Rodgers can see it. Will Howard's going to be able to see it. He's 6'4" or 5, man. He can see it. And that puts you in a proof position to utilize what we already have in 3 weapons, in my opinion, in Mount Washington, in Pat Freiermuth, and in Pegram, the kid we got from the LA Chargers. Now, there's talk about Jonnu Smith. There's talk about Kyle Pitts. I'll take either one of them because in a 12 personnel, we're going to be in 12 personnel 50% of the snaps. I promise you, Pittsburgh Steelers Nation, we're going to be in the 12 personnel and run heavy play action with Caleb Johnson and Jaylen Warren running the ball. And by the way, Caleb Johnson looks like a freaking stud. So we'll
get to him in a minute.
Yeah. So we're going to be in heavy 12. And I don't know about you, but if I got DK Metcalf at the X and I got Jonnu Smith at the Y, and my inline on that side is Pat Freiermuth, and my guy on the other side is Washington, and I bring Metcalf in motion, somebody's defense is cooked. I don't know who, but somebody, you better be in cover 4 and your safety better be about 20 yards back. Because if not, they are cooked, bro. All day and night because they're going to throw the ball across the middle.
He better be 20 yards deep and he better weigh 225 pounds.
Big cook, bro.
Yeah,
big cooked.
Yeah. Or be 6'5". He better be Kyle Hamilton on every team. Yeah,
Yep.
Every team that the Steelers play, they're gonna have to just pass around Kyle Hamilton to him, or else it's gonna be it'd be crazy.
And Betts, we chasing the Buffalo Bills, right? We're chasing the Kansas City Chiefs, right? We're chasing the Baltimore Ravens, right? They all heavy 12. All three of them is heavy 12. They got all three of them got the double up tight end. Hell, the Raiders got the double up tight end in the AFC. The 12 personnel, I called it 2 years ago. I said the NFL was going to change. They've been a 12 personnel heavy ever since because I saw it coming.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other thing, too, is people saying, no, we don't need another tight end. We don't need another tight end. The Steelers were in 13 personnel more than anybody else in the league last year.
That's big facts.
13 personnel. 17% of their snaps were 13 personnel. That was like 4% more than the next closest team. So, I mean, utilize these guys, right? Get more of those guys on the field. And there is a comment here. Let's see. This super chat from Corey Brown. Thanks, Corey. $9.99. Appreciate that, Corey. I believe Khan is building the team the right way, inside out. Russell was allergic to the middle of the field. A competent QB will make us dangerous. Straight facts there. And even taking off the tag there, a competent quarterback will make us dangerous. A good offensive line will make this team dangerous with these running backs and what the Steelers want to do with Arthur Smith. And now Arthur Smith's got 2 running backs that fit his schematics as well.
Facts.
That outside zone, it's going to be, if the offensive line's anywhere close to good, then I think the Steelers are going to have a much better running attack than they had last year, which is going to set up more things. And if this is the show for optimism here, then let's not decide right now that Calvin Austin III and Roman Wilson can't develop into something useful this year. Because if that happens, then I would still go get another receiver of some kind, but your depth is just getting better and better as you go here.
Yeah, the good teams have flexibility at pass catchers.
Yep.
I will repeat myself again. The good teams have flexibility in pass catchers, be it tight end, be it wide receiver 1 or 2, be it H-back. The good teams have flexibility. The good team in the AFC is the Kansas City Chiefs. Look at all them damn dudes they got.
Yeah.
For a minute, the San Francisco 49ers was the good team in the NFC. Look at all them damn dudes they got. The good teams have flexibility, and they don't lean heavy on, we got to have 2 wide receivers. No, stop that. Flexibility to catch the defense off guard, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think of the Chiefs team, and you had Patrick Mahomes, obviously, so that evens things out. But those Chiefs teams, they didn't have a true one at wide receiver.
No.
After Tyreek Hill. They didn't have a true one there. I mean, Travis Kelce is something, but he's a pass catcher, right? He's a tight end. Yeah. So it's about those pass catchers. You're absolutely right. Not just about the receivers. Let's get to a guy I know that we both have been critical of, but also we both like as a player. Daniel Red, is Pat Queen green dot worthy this year? What do you think about Patrick Queen? Is this a guy that's going to take a leap along with Peyton Wilson in the middle there? Is it dependent on Peyton Wilson? That's where I kind of fall with this. Is like, if Peyton Wilson continues to develop and turns into the linebacker that he showed flashes of being last year, I think that only makes Patrick Queen better, even though we've seen some struggles out of him as a Steeler too.
From my personal preference, bro, they need to identify Peyton Wilson as the green dot today.
I agree with that. Yep.
Peyton Wilson has put on between 12 and 15 pounds. He's up to about 244, 245. He's 6'4" and he's rangy, and he hasn't slowed up. He's a legit 4'4" dude.
Yeah.
Right? So let Patrick Queen, you know what? Like I said, I'll be doing the research. I'll figure stuff out. Patrick Queen was never a green dot. He wasn't a green dot at LSU. He wasn't a green dot in Baltimore. And he's not really a green. He's better off when he roams around. He makes plays. So put Peyton in the middle. And guess what? Now you don't have to worry about keeping guys off of Peyton because you got studs up front in the defensive line with Black, with Harmon, with Sawyer, with Benton. You got a bunch of dudes that they're not going to be able to get to the second level and put a body on Wilson. So I'm with today putting Peyton Wilson as the green dot. Let Queen run, man, because when Queen is running, somebody going to get cracked. Right. And so that's what my stance as far as the position is concerned, Betts.
Free him up. Free Patrick Queen up to be an athlete, I think is the better way to utilize him. And I think, Big G, if there's one thing that, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but if there's one area specifically that I have more issue with Mike Tomlin than anywhere else, is that I don't think he always maximizes his players best by putting them in the best situations, because he has a way of doing things. And like he said it, we brought Patrick Queen in to be our green dot guy. And to me, if you're rigid on that, then that's not a great thing. It's been the way that they've handled the offensive line too. It's like, well, we'll just plug so-and-so here because that's where we have an opening. They've never played that spot before. It slows down their development a little bit. I think that's an area where Mike Tomlin should maybe say, you know what? I need to play guys more where they're comfortable. I need to recognize where players are best so I can maximize this roster. And he does that to a degree, but I think that there are specific players and specific position groups where it's like, hey man, if you just move TJ around a little bit more, right? If you be willing to do that instead of being so rigid in your structure, then I think that you'd have a little bit better chance of these guys reaching their ceilings more consistently.
Bro, my biggest critical point of Mike Tomlin has been this. He gets infatuated with player profiles.
Yeah.
He finds a guy that's like all world. For example, we've been trying to replace Ryan Shazier forever. So he brought in, he went to the front office, bring me Bush, because he's Shazier. He gets infatuated with, because really all Shazier was Troy Polamalu. So he gets infatuated with a certain player profile. And so for whatever reason, he feels that Patrick Queen fits the Ryan Shazier mold. Well, Patrick Queen doesn't have Ryan Shazier's smartness. I'm not saying he's a dumb football player, and he doesn't have his instinct, and he damn for sure ain't got his speed. So the issue is that Tomlin has to move out of being infatuated with player profile from a guy that he had major success from. You got to draft a guy or play players that fit it schematically more than just picking a guy because this is the guy that I'm infatuated with and I've been infatuated with forever.
Yes, I agree with that. 100%. Okay, let's see here. Oh, just had that one up. Let's get to my boy, my guy. How quick do you think Caleb Johnson will win the rushing title? This is getting ahead of ourselves a little bit, but Big G, this guy's going to make an impact for the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, yeah?
Caleb Johnson will be named the starter by week 3.
Yep.
Week 3 going into week 4. He's going to split carries a lot. What's
going
to
put Caleb? Me at all. I agree with that 100%. Yeah.
Listen, and I'm going to be honest, because like I said, I'm going to tell facts now. I didn't want Caleb Johnson, and that's because I was biased. I wanted Quinshon Judkins, and I wanted TreVeyon Henderson.
Yeah, sure.
But then when we went and we traded our second round pick for DK, and then we went to the third, and the top of the third started happening. I was like, Caleb Johnson ain't off the board. Something wrong. Ain't no way in hell he's gonna fall to us. And then it dropped, and I was like, oh my God, he's sitting right there. And we drafted him. Yeah. Now, I'm the type of guy, unless it's like somebody who I really like, I don't start watching film on you until after we draft you. I have watched an astronomical amount of film on Caleb Johnson from Iowa.
Yeah.
Man, he's the truth. And he's in the best shape of his life, man.
Yeah.
He clocked 22.6 the other day at practice. That's a 4.3. What the hell is going on?
Yeah. Some guys are not good 40-yard dash runners. But on the field, I mean, those long strides, when he gets going, he's got another gear to him that people weren't seeing. And he is a Steelers back and a scheme fit for Arthur Smith. And when you combine the fact that I think that he's a better athlete than he's given credit for, the fact that he is kind of a historical fit for what the Steelers look for, body type wise from their backs, and the fact that he is a perfect scheme fit for the current offensive structure. I think that you have maybe a real chance to have found a stud. And I would have liked him mostly anywhere, but I love him in Pittsburgh. And that's a take the black and gold lenses off for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb Johnson to the Pittsburgh Steelers from a schematic and play style standpoint was a match made in heaven in this draft, much like I would have said for Joey Porter Jr. to Pittsburgh a couple years ago, and even Peyton Wilson to Pittsburgh last year. It's like the NFL teams keep letting these guys fall into the Steelers' laps, and maybe the Steelers need to develop them a little bit better once they get here, but there's a chance Caleb Johnson is that next big-time running back in Pittsburgh. And that's nothing against Jaylen Warren, who I really like.
Betts, I'm gonna let you on some inside, man. So I played against and know a certain guy that played for Seattle by the name of Sean Alexander.
Yeah.
Okay. I know exactly what he is, right? I coached against Caleb in high school. They're the same freaking dude.
Okay. Yeah.
They're the same dude, bro.
Yeah.
They're the same dude. They're the
That's
same. Caleb's a little bit taller.
Right?
Yeah, Caleb's a little bit taller. Sean's a little bit more compact, but their running style they're doing comparisons. I'm telling you, he's Sean Alexander. And I'm telling you, that's how good he is. So I'm not saying he's got a rushing title in him as a rook, but he's a major upgrade from Najee Harris. Yeah. A major upgrade.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And the fact that the Steelers landed him and then Jaylen Warren signs his RFA tender and they didn't sign him to a more long-term contract, to me that says, ooh, we got a guy that we didn't think we were going to get, and we think that he's going to be a bell cow for us down the road. So I'm really looking forward to the KJ experiment here in Pittsburgh. Let's see here. Archie Wilson, who's been doing some podcasting with me over the last few weeks, comments from New Zealand saying, "What's up, team? What are your feelings of Roman Wilson going into this year?" There's been a lot of talk about Roman Wilson, but Big G, does he fit with this team? Is he going to make a rebound this year after healing up from that injury?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think so. There's two players that I knew were hurt last year. And matter of fact, beyond hurt and injured. Not three, actually. Troy Fautano, Roman Wilson, and Broderick Jones. All three of those guys was hurt and injured. Believe me, they were. They're not going to let it out, but they were. When Roman Wilson came back at the end of the season, he was still about 70%. He wasn't even 100%. And that's why they didn't give him a helmet. Roman Wilson had went through the gauntlet as being Michigan's primary target on their national championship run. And go back and watch those games that he played in. Roman Wilson took some grueling hits in the college football, in that season in the college football. I mean, I'm talking about he got cracked a bunch of times. So when he came in, his body just wasn't ready. Now, here's another guy. He's gained some weight. His body's changed a little bit. And so I think now Roman Wilson has an opportunity to fight for wide receiver 2 in certain sets. He's not an inside slot guy. His comp to me is Tyler Lockett, bro.
Sure.
He's very close to Tyler Lockett. He's gained some weight.
Yeah.
He could take the top off of the defense. So, yeah, I think Roman's going to be just fine, bro. Just fine.
Yeah. And, don't expect him to be a Pro Bowl player or anything like that. But as a role-playing fit for this team, I think that he could be just fine. And here's the thing too, is you said it earlier, Steeler Nation gets impatient. We're so ready to jump off one ship to another ship for players before we've even seen what they can do. At some point, you have to take a look at the guys that you've invested in. And the Steelers invested a 3rd-round pick in Roman Wilson. And you got to see if that's going to work out. If you don't, then why'd you pick him? So even if you might sit back and say, oh, wringing my hands about the Steelers wide receiver 2 spot this year, I just don't know. They've got DK, but they don't have anybody else. They really need to go out and get somebody. Well, if you go out and get somebody, guess whose reps go down? Roman Wilson. Guess whose reps go down? Calvin Austin III. And you don't get to see what these guys can really do. So if you invest in players, you got to go see what they can do for you. That's
correct. They're draft picks. They're draft picks. Calvin Austin III is a slot. Roman Wilson is a Y. He's not an X. He's a Y. But he played X at Michigan, by the way. So all y'all that don't, go back and watch the film. He played X, right? And he got cracked a whole bunch of times. so yeah, he's going to be all. And
He's a tough dude, though.
And I'm going to address Claude too, bro. Claude, that was a rumor that was started talking about he couldn't understand the playbook. Roman Wilson had a very good concept. I can't wait till I go to Latrobe this year, and I'll be talking crazy to all y'all and show y'all. I'm gonna be over there to talk at Latrobe, and I'll be like, "I showed you this. I told you this." Because I had feet on the ground last year. This year, I'm gonna be there myself. So
Sure.
no, it ain't gonna be all that not shenanigans going on with the live chat talking about they opinionated and don't do no research, man. Come on, man.
Absolutely. Mark Cunningham says Wilson Fautana are like having 2 extra picks this year, right? I mean, it is true, and I would give them a leg up on that too because they know the facilities. The whole joke with Kenny Pickett was he already knows where the bathrooms are, right? I mean, these guys know where everything is. They know the routines. They just got to get on the field now. So, I think that gives them a leg up as well. I'm ready for what this roster can put together and what we're going to see. Hey, Big G, maybe we'll have to meet up at training camp this year. I went a couple years ago, didn't get a chance to make it out last year. Might have to see if I can meet up with somebody out at training camp this year. And so stay in touch about that, man.
I will, man. I'll be over there cutting up, bro.
Okay.
I'll be over there. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be over there cutting up. So because I'm gonna call a spade and tell you what I see. I got plans with meeting up with guys. Some of these big hitters out there and still, because some of the big hitters done already contacted me and they're out there in Steelers. So we'll see, man.
But are you saying I'm not a big hitter?
No. I'm just saying, like, I'm serious now. I wouldn't even be going if it wasn't for particular people making sure that I have the availability to go. So yeah, absolutely.
Sounds good. Okay, we've got a couple more in here. Let's see here. Well, let's just do this one because we kind of skimmed over it with the conversation about Rodgers, but has anything that we've been seeing or hearing from OTAs so far got your interest peaked, Big G, before we get out of here?
The left and the right tackle.
Yeah.
Broderick Jones is in the best shape. Matter of fact, the left, right tackle, and Darnell Washington.
Yeah.
Broderick Jones lost 21.5 pounds. He's nimble and he's in full shape. Troy Fautana was. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Did you see Broderick Jones on the bags the other day? Those feet are moving, man. I was surprised that he looks so fast.
Yeah. Troy Fautana is in the best shape of his life. That he's been in his whole freaking life. He's in the best shape. And Mark Washington has slimmed down and looks faster. So if Mark Washington is a primary blocker, or what some folks call a glorified tackle, I promise you he's going to set the edge now. For the people that are Steelers fans, go back and watch all 22 film and see how many plays if a dude just holds a blocker for a tenth of a second and Najee's got one more step, those little 5 and 6 yard runs turn into 20 and 30 yard runs. Yeah. Well, now we got a dude that's gotten a little bit faster and Caleb Johnson, and the offensive line is in shape and healthy. So I'm looking for big stuff out of that line, bro.
Yeah. Health is going to be the key factor, and I think if that's my biggest takeaway so far is that it looks like guys who weren't healthy last year are looking healthy this year. Hopefully it stays that way. Hopefully everybody that was healthy last year stays healthy this year. So that's my biggest prayer at this point of the offseason is stay healthy. Everybody, we got to see what we get out of you guys. Okay, we got another super chat. We'll throw it up here from Claude Bishop. $2. Thanks again, Claude. Will Broderick Jones get a 5th-year option? I think if he plays really well this year, I think he absolutely will, because that's a position where that will help you out financially to give him the 5th-year option. And I mean, the Steelers have proven that they stick with the guy, even if it's nominal starter play. They did it with Dan Moore Jr. Now, if he's on the roster, they'll stick with him until they have to move on. So I think that's something that they'll do.
It's a make or break contract year for Broderick. And he's way better than dumpster juice Dan Moore Jr. He's way better than him. Man, Betts, I had a dude bet me that Dan Moore Jr. was going to make the Pro Bowl for the AFC. Ooh. I said, okay, I'm going to thank you for the free money. Yeah. Thank you. He bet me that. I said Dan Moore Jr. was horrible. Yeah. So, no, he's way better. So, yeah, he's going to get if he plays to his potential.
Yeah.
if he plays to his potential.
Right. Dan Moore Jr. ended up being serviceable, but that dude was the Pro Bowl is just a name game now, more so than it ever was before. So even if he had an all-pro season, he wasn't getting into the Pro Bowl because nobody's going to say, "Ooh, Dan Moore Jr., let me vote for that guy to the Pro Bowl."
Yeah, get him. There's no way in hell he's making the Pro Bowl. And he plays for the Tennessee Titans, who's got a rookie quarterback that loves to roll left like Kenny Pickett. No way in hell. They're going to get exposed quick.
All righty. Hey, good stuff, Big G. Hey, let everybody know where they can find you, where they can listen to your stuff. We always enjoy you on the show.
Man, I appreciate the opportunity again, man, to come on Steel Curtain Network with the Q&A, man. As it says where my link is, it says Big G subscribe to the 1K subs for the Know It Alls podcast. The Know It Alls podcast is diligently working towards 1K subs. We have a couple of Steelers-centric shows that we run on there. It's all sports, but it's Steelers-centric on Wednesday nights. We do Smash the Gas before we come on and do Pump Your Brakes with the Triple OG Shannon White, my boy Tape Boy Fresh. And now that the offseason is hit, outside of our highlighted shows where we bring special guests in, we're going to do a lot of talk concerning the Steelers and the Dallas Cowboys on that channel. So it runs Sundays for the Know-It-Alls. It runs Wednesdays for Smash the Gas. We got other stuff going on out there. And then I moonlight a little bit over on Steelers Almighty with Big B too, man. So, yeah, I do a lot of podcasts, a lot of stuff, man. Talk a lot of Steelers. But I appreciate the opportunity to come on here with you, bro.
Absolutely, Big G. Keep talking to us. We love to listen to you. We appreciate all those who tuned in for this show. We hope you have a great rest of your Sunday night and a good work week ahead. The Steelers are back to work this week, and we're not going anywhere here on the Steel Curtain Network. So stay tuned as far as you can. Yep.